Hello and welcome to the first and last evening show of ATTD TV 2022, coming to you live from the middle of the ATTD exhibition here in the beautiful city of Barcelona. My name is Lena Bayón and I am here to wrap up another great day of knowledge here at ATTD 2022. What is scheduled for us for this show? Katharine Barnard-Kelly will talk to us about the relations between COVID-19 and diabetes. We'll have a look at what there is to do here in the beautiful city of Barcelona. We will host Stephanie Amiel that will tell us about the past 15 years since ATTD was launched. So let's get this show running. We are on site and it looks natural, but in case you forgot, for the last 2 years we have been dealing with COVID-19. Here with me is Katharine Barnard-Kelly that will elaborate a little bit about the importance of being back at an in-person conference. Hello, Katharine. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Hi, thank you for asking me.
So I know it's a general question, but I have to ask it, what is it like to be back here at an in-person conference?
Oh my, it's great. It's really great. Barcelona is an amazing city. It's a fantastic conference, and it's so nice to be back in person and to be able to have those interactions and those conversations in the corridor and face to face that you just don't get on a teleconference. You don't get on a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting. So whilst it's been necessary for the past 2 years during COVID, actually there's nothing quite like being back in person and being part of the conference.
I can see you're happy. The focus of this conference is technologies and advanced therapies for diabetes. How important it is to balance that technology also with patient satisfaction?
It's huge. So what we have seen here at the conference this week are the real advancements that have been happening over the last few years in terms of the devices and the technologies and the therapies that are becoming available for people with diabetes. But the reality is that if a patient is unable or unwilling to use that technology, then they won't benefit from it. So patient satisfaction is huge, and there's a huge program here on the main conference and around the symposia that really address that patient-reported outcome, that patient engagement factor that makes use of these technologies so successful.
So it's a balance, also technology and personal connection, I guess.
Yeah, it really is. You know, it's about making sure that the technology is the best fit for every patient to meet their needs in the context of their everyday lives.
Beautiful. So how can this be achieved in routine clinical care?
So I think it's routine now that in all clinical research, there is definitely a patient-reported outcome element of that. I know that ourselves, we've been working on the Spotlight platform for some years now. There's a huge evidence base behind it that really enables understanding of patient priority concerns to help healthcare professionals really understand the needs of their patients and then are able to provide resources to meet each of those unmet needs. So this biopsychosocial model that is necessary for chronic conditions such as diabetes is really deliverable now within routine care.
Perfect. So this is a question that I always ask because for me it's very important, and I guess for our audience as well. How did you get drawn to diabetes? How did that relationship start?
I started working in diabetes. I was drawn to diabetes in my master's degree many moons ago when my thesis for my master's degree research project was around patient and professional communication in an adult diabetes centre in Portsmouth, near where I live in the UK. And it is just a fantastic, brilliant place to work. You know, healthcare professionals are amazing, patients are amazing, and it's just a really good place to be. You can really make a difference, you know?
Yeah, I can see that all of you are very feeling that love for the field, and it's beautiful.
I think everybody that works in diabetes really loves it, and they really want to make a difference to help patients live a happier, healthier life with their diabetes, you know? Yeah. So it's quite unusual in healthcare in terms of the community. It's really nice.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm really seeing that. So it's so beautiful. So let's talk about the ATTD community. How important it is to the development of treating diabetes, this kind of conference, this international one.
I think it's huge, and I think that's evident by the way that the conference has really grown year on year since it started in 2008. And I think actually, the additional activities and programs that the ATTD run to try and really be inclusive into the community is hugely important, because we can all do things brilliantly in our own research teams and our own clinicians, but to be able to share that best practice and work collaboratively for the greater good, you can't beat that. And the ATTD really try to strive to achieve that goal, so it's cool.
So thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference days, and see you soon.
Thank you so much, it's very kind.
Thank you, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
We are in Barcelona, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Let's have a look at what this city has to offer. Looks great. I am sure you want to know what is there to do here. For that, we ask a local speaker, Rosa Garriga, with a little bit more information about Barcelona. Rosa, you're welcome.
Thank you, Lena. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas a Barcelona. There are so many things to do in this city. If you are, for example, into architecture, of course we have the famous buildings from Antoni Gaudí, such as La Sagrada Familia, Casa Batlló, or La Pedrera. If you are into museums, we have right here in front of the CCAB the Museu de Ciències Naturals. But if you are into art, we have also the Picasso Museum, the Museu de Nacional d'Art de Catalunya, or the MACBA, which is el Museu d'Art Contemporani de Barcelona, just to name a few. If you are into shopping, you could go to Passeig de Gràcia, which is a beautiful avenue, or Las Ramblas, which I'm sure you all know already. If you are into food, you are in one of the best places to eat. You could have a delicious paella in front of the beach, or you could go for some traditional meals in the Gothic quarter, or you could even have some tapas in the Gracia neighborhood, which is a very picturesque area. If you want some beautiful views of the city, you could go to the Tibidabo mountain or the Montjuïc mountain. You will love it. And finally, if you have some more free time, you could go to some places that are nearby, such as the famous Montserrat mountain, or the beautiful beach town called Sitges, or you could even go for a wine tour in the Penedès region. So enjoy Barcelona.
ATTD is celebrating its 15 years anniversary. For that, we invited Stephanie Amiel, one of the more known figures of this community. Hello, Professor Amiel. Wonderful to have you here with us.
It is wonderful to be here.
So it's been 15 years. How did all start? How do you remember ATTD and also your beginnings in the field?
So my beginnings are a lot earlier than ATTD's beginnings, but ATTD's beginnings I remember as a meeting in Prague in 2008. And it was the brainchild very much of its present chairman, Moshe and Tadej, who wanted to create a forum for us to talk to have sort of multidisciplinary discussions about what was then emerging technology. And they got together people from from the academic field, from the clinical field. They got people with diabetes. They got people from industry, and brought them together in a social setting. And it's the ATTD meeting's been one of the highlights of my year ever since, because it's a very friendly meeting. It's a bit like a very big family. It does keep getting bigger, and the family keeps growing. But it's always a pleasure to come back and see people and catch up on where things are going. And the field, I think, has moved much faster than we expected back in 2008. I can remember the big excitement of 2012, I think it was, when we heard the first data on dose advisors. And Moishe and Tajaj produced their first data on the very first beginnings of a closed loop. And that's only that's not 10 years ago. And we've come a very long way, and it's been exciting to watch that, perhaps be part of it. So it's been good.
And what about your relationship with diabetes since a long time ago?
That's a longer story. So I started in diabetes. I was very lucky, actually. My original plan was to be a straight clinician. But I started working in a junior doctor post with a guy called Harry Keane, who was one of the leaders of British diabetes. And he and his team actually were the inventors of the insulin pump in the UK. So people may not remember this, but the two groups that developed insulin pump therapy developed it totally independently from different backgrounds, but at almost exactly the same time. And so I was a clinician learning how to be a doctor when these new technologies were being evolved. And I went from working clinically with Harry in Guy's Hospital in London to a research position with the inventors of the American inventors of the pump at Yale, to start working on research. And I worked on hypoglycemia. That was in the 1980s. We've learnt a lot. We still haven't solved all the problems.
We still have some things to solve, but we are in the optimistic path. So,
well, I think so. I mean, I think one of the reasons they keep inviting me back is because the technology gets better and better, and in silico, you might say, the technology works really, really well, but you have to have the technology interact with the people who are using it, and that's not quite so simple. And there are groups of people who struggle sometimes with the technology. And one of the things I've noticed about ATTD is an increasing recognition that technology produces solutions, but we have to produce solutions to help people access those solutions. And so that's been an exciting journey.
Exactly. And what's next for diabetes treatment? We're seeing a lot of technology
Yes.
and developments, but do you see a world actually without diabetes in the future?
I would love to see that. I think it depends on which type of diabetes you're talking about. I mean, we do tend with the technology to focus very much on the type 1 diabetes, and there is greater understanding of how that happens, and that means potentially greater ways of preventing it. Even if you were to prevent new diabetes next year, which sadly is not going to happen, but if you did, you've still got a very large number of people who've got the problem and will need to continue living with it. So we are going to continue to need solutions. For type 2 diabetes, some of it is already preventable. And I think some of the tragedies are that for some things we know solutions, but we can't engage the people who need to be engaged with them to use them always. But it is both conditions are difficult, and it's not as simple as having a solution and everybody suddenly gets better.
And how important is the community for this development?
The community is hugely important. I think one of the most interesting things about meetings like this is the increasing listening to the patient voice, because it's all very well the scientists coming up with brilliant solutions, but they have to be solutions that people can use. And so I think incorporating the people who actually have to work with the solutions we come up with is really important. And it's nice because in some ways it's nice because the science is always fascinating, and it's been very interesting to see how the science has developed. But alongside that, you have to have the implementation, and that's also evolving.
We are back here in an in-person event. How does it feel? It feels weird. It's the first big event that we are here in person.
Mostly it feels really good. It's lovely to see people again. I am surprised at how good looking everybody is and how much younger they are than they are on Zoom or Teams. Because of my own health situation, I've been very isolated for a lot of COVID. So for me, I'm still quite nervous. And still concerned about possibilities of transmission. I can't think why. I mean, in the UK, I've had 4 injections and COVID. I should be absolutely invulnerable. But it's good to see that we are beginning to interact again and come back to person contact.
Can you tell us something special that maybe the audience don't know about you?
About me?
Yeah.
I don't know what the audience know about me, and I suspect the things that they don't know, I'm not particularly sure I would want them to know.
They have to stay there, right?
I think so, yes.
Okay, so are you looking forward to any session that it's going to happen in the following days?
Today I've had sessions of my own to present, and I find it quite difficult, even at this level, I find it difficult to engage fully in other things when I know I've got to speak myself, because you spend your entire time just tweaking everything so it's as good as it can be. I have to be honest, I'm looking forward to releasing our big research study from the last year, which we're releasing tonight. It was a research trial about helping people with hypo problems despite technology, really helping them maybe even better engage with the technology. So I'm looking forward to that. And I do look forward to hearing how the technology is going to get better, because the better it gets, the easier it will be for people to use it.
Yeah, and we are being stronger there, so...
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much,
It's a pleasure.
Professor. It's been such a great pleasure to have you here on set, and
It's good to be here.
enjoy the rest of the conference
Thank
days.
you. Thank you very much.
We are approaching the end of another ATTD TV 2022 studio session. Tomorrow morning we have the ATTD run, so don't stay up late. Prepare your trainers. It starts at 6:30 a.m. We will be here live at 7:30. See you tomorrow. Bye.